Hello YouTube. So this video is a bit of a strange one really. You can see here we've got a sofa that I bought about 7-8 years ago before we had kids. And over time with kids spilling things and them being washed, it's kind of almost had its sell by date. So I got to a point where we were going to get a new one, but with a 4-year-old and a 2-year-old, it was almost inevitable. They're just going to stain and jump in it and cause damage. Literally inevitable. So I kind of got to a position where I either sell this one and get a new one and run that risk, or I do what I've always kind of wanted to give a go and trying to change this corner sofa into a 3-seater. So this video is how you go about doing that. Funnily enough, there are actually no videos on YouTube teaching you how to do this because possibly no one thinks it's a good idea, but this sofa was pretty much going to be either dumped or sold for quite a small price, so I thought I'd just give it a go, get another year's use out of it, and if it goes wrong, we're no further behind. We'd end up buying a sofa like we were going to anyway. Now what I found with these sofas is that they're actually all really cheaply made. This was about £1,000, and when you look at the wood, it looks like it's made, in quite a rush, and it's just kind of stapled at the bottom. So as you start removing it, it's not overly complicated. I didn't really have any specialist tools. As you can see here, I just used a knife. I didn't end up buying a staple remover because you end up stapling and removing quite a lot. So if you just have a look at these images that I'm posting, you can kind of see the main structure and how it's all put together, how there's various levels of padding, and how the material is put over that. This is quite interesting, this photo, that not all the seams are stitched. There's little metal rods with staples in, and what they do is they push it through the material, fold it back on itself, and then hammer it in. And it's a really quick way of getting a really nice folded line. When I removed them, I actually damaged them, so I bought a set of 5 on Amazon and was able to kind of replicate a similar line. I think it'd be a lot easier if you made the sofa from scratch, because I was obviously only kind of half reupholstering it, but it had quite a good effect. As you can see, I've pulled back all the material and you can kind of see the structure and the corner of what I'm going to remove. The interesting thing here is that where the sofa butts up to each other, I wanted to keep that corner. So the actual material, because it's sewed, so I cut it so that it could be re-stapled to the end, and also actually kept that corner. The next stage really is to make sure you get a straight cut, so that the sofa will butt up to the area that you've removed it from. So just use a right angled square and measure twice, make sure you get the cuts that are perfectly in line with each other and perfectly straight. So the area that I'm removing is actually the corner. So it would be end sofa is going to be the bit I'll keep, and the corner section is the bit I remove. But I will keep the end. This is the corner sofa just here, corner ends just here, that's removed. And this is the actual part that's at the end, the side of that corner sofa that butts up to the other 2-seater. As you can see, it's really cheaply made. They just seem to get any old spare bit of wood, staple it together. I've given it a go here at fixing it, and once it dried, I just realised it just, I wasn't very happy with it. I caused a bit of damage removing it, so I actually replaced it with a piece of MDF. So I put the piece that I wanted to copy onto MDF, penciled around it, and just cut it out with my plunge saw. So it's a lot neater, a lot thicker, and more stable, so I was quite happy with that. I ended up cutting it twice because I think where I measured it, I didn't take an account of how thick the wood is, so I had to screw it onto the end of the sofa, remove it, take a section off, and re-remove it again. But we got there in the end. It's just another little lesson of measure twice, cut once. I really do advocate these plunge saws. They're really brilliant, really versatile. But when you're doing these kind of complex cuts, you just have to finish off with a saw, because a circular saw you can't cut right up to a join. So you can see there, it matches perfectly, and I was quite happy with the result. Screwing in, I put quite a few screws to pull it all together, and then because the feet were removed, or where it would have butted up, I've just kind of put these little legs in to keep the height remained. When you do remove, you've got to make sure that these back supports are pretty much everywhere. There can't be any gaps where they're not. So I removed them and screwed them back in place. So every area of the hole was covered by these back braces. And then this is a very cheap staple gun, but it's really fun to use. Really, really simple. You could use a hand stapler, but it's a lot better using a electric stapler. So that kind of did the job. There's a few times where I wasn't happy, so I bought this little staple remover here just to get it all tight and nice and neat. And essentially you just reupholster the way in which you removed it. You've got to keep an account that you'll remove some material. Here's the sofa placed together. At the moment we are going to get rid of this soon, so we have it separately. This is the section that I reupholstered, so I was just mindful of folding the material back over and making neat. That end section just here, which I'll put an arrow on, that was actually cut off from the corner sofa and then just placed on the end because that was stitched. And then you can see the line here going down. That's the one that I replaced with this metal, those metal spiky inserts. And they can create a really nice fold. So yeah, it's not an amazing job. I definitely wouldn't sell this in this condition. It's just a matter of getting another year's use out of it, giving it a go. When the kids are slightly older, hopefully they'll spill less things and jump on the sofa a little bit less. Here are the tools I used. So I've got a range of staples, range from 8 to 40. Inside here you get a hand staple. That would do the job, but probably just a bit hard on your hands. I wouldn't use this for this job. This is a hammer stapler used for carpet underlay. And obviously we've got a very cheap staple gun that was very, very cheap, but really tool of the day, definitely worth its money. And I'd definitely advocate getting a staple remover. Having used a knife for most of the job, it's just, this is the tool for the job. Removes it easily, doesn't cause too much damage to your hands and to the surface. Only about £8 or so, so definitely get one of those. So yeah, if you fancy giving this a go, just as a way of it extending the life of your sofa, or if suddenly your circumstances change and it's too big. What happened to us? We suddenly got kids, we had clothes and toys everywhere, so we wanted to slim down the sofa. Give it a go.